What's up, Knicks Nation? We are back for another Knicks player preview. Today we have Cam Payne. If you're new here, we're doing a player preview for every single New York Knick. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's get into it. So, Chris, Knicks signed Cam Payne to a 1-year, $3.1 million contract. Intriguing signing. Cam Payne has bounced around a little bit. Phoenix, 76ers last season. I remember down in Philadelphia, he was hurting us with his threes, gave the Sixers a spark in that series. And we were like, really? Out of all people, Cam Payne? So excited to talk about him.
Yeah, man, I'm excited too, but I'm not gonna lie, man. When I saw that the Knicks signed Cam Payne, I was like, come on. Are you kidding me right now, man? Obviously, I was still salty, even though we won that series against Philly. Like you said, Cam Payne sparked the 76ers, kept them alive at times when we thought we gave knockout blow after knockout blow. He just came back, hit big three after big three after big three.
Yep.
With that jump shot that doesn't look great, but hey, the ball goes in the basket anyway. But look, he's a Knick now. Obviously, I like what he brought to the 76ers, especially in the playoffs. And sign me up for that. Sign me up for that, especially come playoff time. We could use that. So yeah, Cam Payne, a Knick. Still a little bit salty, but I'll take it.
Come on, nah, can't be salty. I love the energy he brings. He's gonna bring a lot of energy this year to the team. Him and Mikal have tons of chemistry. Saw them dancing out in Phoenix, so that bond is extremely close, and that's good to have. We need, the current roster we have. We have a championship contending roster, and you kind of need guys to lighten the mood a little bit. And we have the guys that when things need to be serious, we have guys to take care of that. But it's a fun culture that we're building here. But you brought up playoff experience, right? So
yeah.
Cam Payne, I don't know if you know this, but he has 13 playoff series dating back to 2016, even when he was in OKC. Chicago, he had a playoff series in 2017. He's been to the Western Conference Finals. He went to the NBA Finals with Phoenix. And so he's been there, done that. He knows what it takes. The lights aren't bright for Cam Payne in the playoffs. And when the Knicks first signed him, Chris, I was like, okay, I'm not sure where the playing time might come from. But then as time went on, and fast forward to today, I think we're going to see some spurts of Cam Payne. And then I really thought about the experience aspect, along with knowing Mikal Bridges and knowing the guys, but been to an NBA Finals. So that type of stuff you can't really teach. And, even versus the Philadelphia 76ers, he wasn't being used in the beginning of that series. And then they went to him and then spark plug, So just in case, it's good to have a Cam Payne like that on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, that's why that 76er series was so frustrating, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was a battle, but like you mentioned, they weren't using a guy like Cam Payne, and then boom, they just on a whim throw him out there, and he just gives you the grit, the toughness, the hustle. He goes out there, hits big shots, exactly what you want for somebody, in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Payne has he look, like you mentioned, I didn't know that, but 13 playoff series, that's insane. And that's a lot of experience. And obviously, like you mentioned, the lights are not bright for this guy. And he went out there and performed. He did his job. And he did it really well. So I'm excited to have that now. The Knicks obviously going for a championship. And Cam Payne, he could be a big piece of that puzzle come playoff time, especially, when guys are banged up. Could spell minutes for Jalen Brunson, could spell minutes for somebody at the 2 spot even if you need it. So I like it.
I do too. And I'm going back to his Phoenix days when he was playing with Mikal Bridges. And like I said, like we've been saying, it's the chemistry. Those two formed a bit of a chemistry out there in Phoenix, and maybe Mikal put in the word for Cam Payne, or maybe he didn't. But it's always good to have these guys on your team.
Yeah.
The Knicks are striving to become one of the best teams in the NBA. We want to win an NBA championship. So it's always good to fill these gaps on your team with guys like this. Experience, guys who won't pout when they're not playing, guys who can lighten the mood when, things are kind of let's say we let's say we go through a stretch in the season where we lose like 4 in a row. It's always good to fill these gaps on your team with guys who have been there, done that. And like you said, Chris, his shot is a little bit funky, but I mean, it goes in. So I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
gonna get used to that. We got to get used to that.
And not only that, Cam Payne could also be that leader type.
Yeah,
Back in Phoenix, you mentioned him playing with Mikal Bridges, but he was also one that played with Chris Paul. And I feel when playing under Chris Paul, he was able to learn the game, learn the little nuances of the game, and I feel like that's where he took probably his biggest leap. He
yeah,
got the feel for the game. He shot a higher 3-point percentage, choosing his spots better. So I think that's huge. You get that type of experience from a vet like Chris Paul at that time, where Chris Paul was playing some amazing basketball as well. And, it all makes a really nice case for Cam Payne being that solid vet that you want come playoff time, right? Because here's a guy he's not going to shy away from the moment. And he has chemistry with some of the guys there already. So I think and again, I think that's a big key for the Knicks this season. They're obviously constructing the roster with everybody in mind, and they just want people who gel together nicely.
yeah. And I love what Leon Rose is doing here in New York. And look, I wouldn't be shocked if there's going to be stretches where we don't even see him on the court. We just see him on the bench. But hey, that's the reality. We didn't bring him in here to, be in the rotation, and he could just be in the rotation. I don't know. He could come into training camp, and Tom Thibodeau could figure out these minutes, this distribution. Now that you have Dante on the bench and Josh Hart on the bench, now you had Cam Payne, Kolek, Deuce. It's going to be a little bit clunky, but like we've been saying, when Cam Payne's name is going to be called, he has shown that he will deliver, and the Knicks have shown. The Knicks not have shown, but the Knicks, the durability has been a concern for the New York Knicks. So, it's always good to have a veteran guy coming in here that can shoot the three and can have a little fun in the midst of it, which is like Theo Pinson, right? Dancing on the sidelines. That's
Yeah.
Cam Payne.
I feel like that's important, man. That's important because, Theo Pinson, he brought that energy for us, obviously on the bench, never really played much. I think Cam Payne will play ultimately a little bit more than Theo Pinson did, but like you mentioned, that's huge. You need that guy that's just celebrating, every play, even if it's nothing crazy, but you need that on the bench for sure.
You do. So, bold prediction for Cam Payne? Do you feel like he can? Bold, you go first. Bold prediction for Cam Payne this year. It can include playoffs too.
My bold prediction for Cam Payne, it's going to be kind of something simple, but just because of his overall game and what he can bring, I say he steals Deuce McBride's minutes. That's my
Oh,
prediction.
you're gonna anger a lot of Knicks fans with that one.
I'm not saying I want that to happen,
Yeah,
but I could kind of see that happening. If Deuce doesn't get off to a hot start per se, or drops a little bit of production, which again I hope that doesn't happen. But you know, there's more to Cam Payne, I think, than a assurance of having an extra body in case of injury. In my opinion, he just doesn't fit the mold of that type of player that you kind of just bury on the bench per se.
yeah.
But
But you
that's just
can.
my. You can
Yeah,
absolutely, especially on this team, which we have so many guards at the moment. But
yeah.
that's my bold prediction.
I think Cam Payne is going to be a very vital piece for us in the NBA playoffs. I don't care what he does in the regular season. I don't care if we see him every 6 games. Like, I feel like, even though I want that, like, I'm not saying I don't care, but I like, it all depends on the rotations. But I feel like he's going to, like last year with the 76ers, he's going to provide that spark for us in a playoff series when we need it the most, when somebody's struggling. So those are our bold predictions. Anything else we wanted to touch on? Cam Payne before we head up on out of here?
No, that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. I like what the Knicks are
Can't wait.
doing.
Can't wait.
Obviously,
Let's go.
we suffered a lot of injuries this past season, and now our depth is crazy, man. It's and it continues to be crazy. So
Yes,
we got to
sir.
see what happens come training camp.
Can't wait. Coming really soon. Really soon. That was Cam Payne. In case you missed it, we're doing a player preview for every single Nick. Our last player preview can be seen right here. Subscribe to the channel. We are going to be bringing back the live stream soon, so be on the lookout for that. We usually do it every Sunday at 9 p.m. I'm excited for that. I'm Anthony from the Knicks Nation.
I'm Chris.
We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.